I'm going to put the purposes back down.
Um, I want to start off by saying that it's overwhelming to see all these people that I love in my life. I'm almost about to cry.
That's from me, not for him.
Okay, so August of 2010, I was clipping my nails one day, and the nail clipper was broken or something, like it wouldn't clip. And so I tossed it out and looked for another one, and I used that one, and I tried to clip my nails, and it wouldn't clip either. And I thought, that's odd, there's something wrong. And I didn't really think about it for a couple of weeks, but then my
Sorry.
my arm was weaker than it should have been. My right hand or something, my thumb was in particular. And starting about October, I decided to go see a chiropractor, partly at Gwen's urging. She said, you need to do something about your arm because it was getting weak. And so I went to a chiropractor, and he told me that I hit a pinched nerve, and he gave me exercises to try to take care of that. And that went on for about 2 months. And then for Christmas, we went to Arkansas, and there was an incident where I wasn't able to lift the bag into the overhead bin, and this older woman came over. She was an elderly woman, and she came and she helped me get it in. And after that trip, Gwen, I hope you don't mind me saying it, but Gwen.
This is not a good memory.
Yeah. Gwen had a meltdown at some point, and she said, Aaron, you need to get your effing arm fixed. So I made an appointment with my family doctor, and he referred me to a bone doctor who did an MRI, and he found a very small cyst in my spine. He said, oh, it's that. And he sent me to a neurosurgeon to get it removed. The neurosurgeon looked at me 5 minutes into the in the checkup. He said that cyst is too small. It couldn't do anything that would be responsible for what's going on with you. And he said that I think that you have motor neuron disease of some type, such as ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease. And then he said, I hope to God that I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. And that began this journey that we're on now. By March, it had come back that I was diagnosed with ALS. ALS is it is an incurable terminal illness. There's no escaping that. 50% of people that are diagnosed with it are dead within 2 to 3 years. Another 20% are dead within 5 years. Only 10% of patients are still alive 10 years or later. And those are generally locked in, similar to Stephen Hawking. It's mainly affecting my arms and my shoulders right now. I have what's called limb onset ALS, which is different than bulbar onset. Bulbar is your brain stem. Eventually, every single muscle in my body will die in atrophy and die. And it's because the motor neurons are dying. e- eventually, with all patients, even if it starts on a brain stem, when it starts on a brain stem, they're the lower end of the survival rate. The limb onset, in theory, I should be able to live on the upper end of the bell curve rather than the lower end. But it's anybody's guess because it's random how it progresses. I guess basically right now, in the morning, I'm at the point right now where I cannot lift my arms very well at all. It takes a lot of energy just to scratch my nose. Like if I have to scratch my head, I'll usually just wait until Gwen can do it, and I'll ask her to do it, or Ashlyn or somebody. It takes a lot of energy for me to just lift my arms. We have a caregiver who comes into the house every day now. He comes in about 9:30 in the morning. He stays for 2 hours. He showers me, he shaves me, helps me with my toileting, he feeds me, and he'll do some house chores, he'll vacuum or something, do the dishes. And then he leaves the lunch out for me, and then I struggle through that until Gwen comes home. During the time I'm still working, like I said, I've got a very fortunate job in the sense that I'm able to do it. Like if I were packing boxes, I'd be out of a job. I'm not able to type, and so I speak to the computer instead using drag and dictate, and that's taken some work to try to figure that out. But that's working right now. On the other hand, it won't continue to work forever because at some point I will lose my voice because vocal cords will go. And so in preparation for that, my father just built this an eye writer that it tracks my retina and allows me to control the mouse using my eyes. So I'll be able to continue using the computer beyond the point where I'm not able to use my voice. If my eyes go, which they do in some 10% of patients, then there's always brain-computer interface. So that will be my gateway to the world. Let's see, I need to sleep a lot. Right now it's about 10 or 11 hours a day. Eventually, because it requires so much energy to do anything, whether it's moving my arm or walking right now because I'm still able to walk, or breathing, anything is exerting. I catch myself out of breath a lot. If I walk anywhere, I'm out of breath. If I turn around sometimes too fast, I'll be out of breath. And eventually, I'll probably sleep a very long time. I've talked to one patient. She's been diagnosed for about 6 years. She sleeps about 20 hours a day. Stephen Hawking sleeps over 23 hours a day. That's what I have to look forward to. Then Ashlyn comes home in the afternoons. Gwen picks up Sabina from daycare and she does dinner. And she often has to go back to class in the evenings. And then she'll take care of me as well. Sometimes she'll shower me in the evening if I've gone a couple of days without that. And then in bed, I'm not able to pull up the covers anymore, so Gwen has to do that, and I wake her up 3 or 4 times a night and when I turn over, and she'll help me again to get situated. Well, let's see. I'm looking at my notes. Kelly helped me get my notes last night. the breathing, with the life expectancy being what we're looking at, they call it the survival rate. The reality is that at some point my diaphragm will collapse, and at that point you can't breathe. If your diaphragm isn't working, you aren't able to breathe, and so that's when most of the patients die. They some 10% of patients, ALS patients in the U.S., choose to go on artificial ventilation, and at that point, there's no technical reason why I wouldn't be able to live out my expected life expectancy. The reality there is that pneumonia usually gets them at some point, but in theory, I could go for many, many years on life support or on with ventilation. I would be locked in, except for the technologies that I'd be able to use to speak to people using a computer. But that's a difficult choice to make because I would require an extreme amount of care. I need 24-hour care at that point. I'd have to have people that would come in every 2 hours and clean out the ventilation tube. And I wouldn't be able to move at all. There is a new treatment that has recently been approved by the FDA. It's called the diaphragm pacing system. It's basically a pacer to help the diaphragm. It's supposed to extend the survival rate by 16 months on average. I'm probably going to be doing that soon because my breathing the first time I was tested for my breathing, they do a force vitality capacity test where they test the measure of your lungs. Mine were at 83% of normal functioning. At that time, that was just about a year ago. The last time I had it checked was 2 months ago, and it was at 61%. When it gets to 50%, that's the red zone, that's the danger, that's when they tell you you need to get your stuff in order and work on your end of life stuff. And it's easy to do the math. It's not a linear progression either. There's a bell curve, which means that once it hits 50, it plummets. And they have to wait to 50 before they'll put in the diaphragm pacer because of insurance. But I'm expecting probably June or so I'll have that, and we'll see what that does. Let's see how I feel right now. I'm sad. I'm bitter and angry sometimes when I think about it. It's bizarre to think about it. Like, oh yeah, that happened to Stephen Hawking. How can that happen to me? It's like 1 in 100,000 people. I should have played the lottery or something. But it is what it is. My uncle, when my Uncle Les turned 40, a good 20 years ago now, he told me that, he said that if you don't have everything that you want by the time you're 40, you're never going to have it. And I took that to heart, and I turned 40 4 years ago. And I realized at that point that I have everything I want. And that was a very comforting feeling to feel that. I realized that I've got Gwen in Ashland, and our house, and a job that I like, and really good friends, and what more could anybody ask for? Except that I thought that I'd have it for another 20 years. I've been doing a lot of missing lately. I think about Ashland. she's 8 years old right now, and I think about another 8 years when she'll be asking for the car keys and I want to be there. I want to do whatever I can to be there. I was looking forward to the empty nest. I was thinking that that was going to be our difficulty in life. We'd get there, and I'd have Gwen to help me, and I'd be able to help Gwen and Ashton and Sabina leave the house, and we'd grieve their leaving, but know that they're going on to their good life, and then well, my next talking point is to, yeah. It's very, very, very hard to ask for help with anything. It's so hard to ask for help. And I'm so amazed at how great that everybody's been. It's just been amazing. Just how much help and generosity from people. I don't even know how to thank people. And the fact that everybody's here today it's very inspiring. So the things that I need, the first thing on here is one of the effects that this stupid disease has had on me is my hearing, which is an odd one. It's not really understood. A lot of the disease, they just don't understand how it works and why it affects some people some way and other people another way. But right now, I'm only able to recognize something like 40% of words that come to my ears. It's very important for me to see you speak. If you're talking to me, I need to be able to see your lips. If I cannot, I can't hear. It sounds like white noise. And then if I can see somebody's mouth moving when they're talking, I hear the words clearly. It's perfect. The same with movies. I can only understand about half of whatever's said in the movie unless there's subtitles, and I understand everything if there's a subtitle. I need subtitles in life. That's a new thing, though. That's only been the last year. I have hearing aids, which are supposed to give a boost, but they don't really work that well. They amplify the noise. And unfortunately, it's done the same for music as well. Music, I cannot understand unless I happen to know the song that's playing. The sounds just come as white noise with the beat, but I can't make out the melodies at all. That's just something I have to live with. Other than being able to see you speak when you speak, I don't really need a lot at all. This is one of the weirdest things about the situation for me, is that all of this care that people are bringing, the reality is that I have all my needs taken care of. I will continue to have all my needs. I'll have Gwen helping me. I'll have the home care attendant comes in and they'll take care of me at some point. If I choose to have ventilation, I'll have people coming in and clean up my feeding tube. or my breathing tube, and I don't need that much, but Gwen needs a lot. She's basically a single parent now already, and I'm not in a wheelchair yet. I mean, she is working full time. She's going to school, and she's raising 2 children, and she's taking care of me. And that is way too much to ask for one person in the best of times. And Asha needs a lot too. I mean, she's 8 years old, and she knows that her father is going to be dying soon. That is so hard for her. I need rides every few weeks to the doctors or whatever random appointments I have. Kelly pointed out last night that I could use some body care. I have to stretch my arms every day, and my fingers and hands. The PT said once a day, but the reality is that I think I need it twice a day, because as the muscles atrophy, they lock up and they cramp, and something like 70% of ALS patients by the end stages report that they are in extreme pain. And in general, it's because of the shoulders is the most common culprit for that. They have a name for it. It's called blocked shoulder syndrome, I think. And so to try to stop that, it's very important that I do range of motion exercises to try to keep some plasticity in my muscles. The PT did tell me that I have to do everything I can to stop the pain from setting in, because once this pain sets in, there's nothing they can do. So that's something that I can use. The fears that I have, I'm afraid of aphasia. I don't like not being able to understand people. I'm afraid of some things that I've read that are possibilities. There's slim possibilities, but I'm already looking at slim possibilities anyway. I've already hit the 1 in 100,000, and I know how odds work now. But it's difficult to think about. There are cognitive changes that happen in some patients, and I'm already experiencing aphasia. I'm afraid of some of the more extreme symptoms. Aphasia, yeah, it's language processing. Right now, I'm not able to understand people speaking. There's nothing wrong with my hearing, by the way. It is not my hearing. My hearing is fine. The difficulty is the word recognition and music recognition. Another piece of that, or the flip side of that, is that it may be possible that I may start spouting nonsense. That's the other piece of aphasia, word salad. That's scary too. It's scary thinking about that I may lose the ability to perform complex thoughts. I need that for work. If I'm able to do that, then I don't know what I'll do for work. I'm afraid of, I'm very afraid of dementia, although Gwen pointed out that that's not something I really need to worry about with ALS. It's different than Alzheimer's. With Alzheimer's, it affects your memory first and then your personality, whereas with this, it affects your personality and then your memory. But the end result is the same in later years. but I don't want that to happen. I'm afraid of that. I'm afraid of the pain. I don't want my muscles to be locked in. I don't want to be one of those 70% that reports extreme pain that only morphine can help with. I don't want that. So the future, my voice is already starting to go. It's generally better in the mornings, but by the evening it gets noticeably, it gets deeper, and also I can feel it. I can feel my voice changing, and it's just something that's coming up. I don't know when, nobody knows anything about that, but I'm expecting, I'd be surprised, I would not be surprised if I've lost my voice by the end of the year. We're moving. Gwen is signing the papers on Tuesday, and we have a house that is going to be accessible, because the house where we live right now, if you've been there, you probably realize it is the opposite of accessible. It has 8 steps leading up the front, 8 steps leading down the back, no bathroom on the first floor. So we looked for about 8 or 9 months before we found this house. The house we're moving to is largely accessible the way that it is. There are no grades going into the house, no steps going into them, and so it's got wide doors. The only thing that we need to do is put in a walk-in shower. It's a ranch house. I'm hoping to see a few of you helping us move. But you'll get a chance to see it then. You can come and see it anyway when we're moved in. The future holds muscle atrophy. Yeah, basically every muscle is going to go at some point in the relatively near future, in the next year or so. We're expecting that I'll have to be in a wheelchair. Right now, my legs are still strong, but the rest of me is not. My arms are weak, my shoulders are weak, my hands are weak, my lungs are being affected. It's difficult to breathe sometimes. I'm on a waiting list to have a home health care attendant who will come in more than 2 hours a day. So that's coming up too relatively soon, within the next few months. What? Yeah. Gwen said it's optimistic. That's through the state. Their agencies, the way that it's set up, I have to wait for X number of people to die before I get a person, which is grim to think about, but that's just the way the state works, and that's what we're working with. I get to decide whether I'm going to vent or not. I haven't made a decision yet. It's not an easy choice, because on the one hand, when you think like, well, do you want to live? Well, yes, of course I want to live. I want to do whatever it takes to live. I love life. I love people. I love being part of things. And at the same time, that is such a burden for Gwen and the kids to have to take care of me 24 hours a day. And if Gwen is taking care of me, then who's taking care of the kids? And it's really hard to think about. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't think I'll know until we're there. But that's pretty much everything I have to say, except that I really thank every single one of you for being here today. I think it's amazing, and I don't know how to thank you, except to say thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Gwen, is there anything that you want to say?
Thanks.
All right. On your sheet, on your little clipboard, you're going to find a little colored paper. You see